So it looks like we're live. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thought I would do a video today, and just like I did a couple weeks ago, thought I would actually go ahead and do it live instead of just a recorded video. I'll probably do these, current event type videos as a live stream rather than a traditional video. That way, and also I'm going to make these listenable, so you can feel free to just, stick your phone in your pocket, put your headphones in, and just kind of listen in like a podcast. One more note, if I seem a little, like allergies and phlegmy, well, that's because I've got allergies and I'm a little phlegmy today. So anyway, let's discuss what we're going to talk about, or give a brief overview. Got my super professional notes here. Biden visited Ukraine. What does that mean? Russia, they've suspended their START treaty, which is the treaty that is in place to make an agreement where United States and Russia aren't necessarily going to over proliferate with the nuclear weapons. We'll talk about that. The season for the balloons is out and trains are in. So take down your decorations and switch them out to the train derailment decorations. We'll discuss that. Lots to unpack there. The evil TikTok. Will they spy on you and rape your dog and do all this other sorts of mean, nasty stuff? We'll discuss that a little bit. And I also kind of want to mention a few things about how I think TikTok might actually be somewhat useful. So kind of listen to that with an open mind. And lastly, on these live streams, I want to kind of give a prepper tip at the end of it. So stick around to the end of it and you'll find out what that is. Well, anyway, I'm Matt with BAAM Ranch. I think we're going to change the channel's name to BAAM Ranch Survival, just to make it a little bit more search friendly on somebody that might be coming into this that's new. We're not sponsored by anybody except for you hitting the thumbs up button. So feel free to do that. Leave me a comment and let me know how terrible of a job I'm doing. Maybe we can actually get a viewer on this live stream. We didn't have any of them on the last one, but that's okay. So let's jump into it. So we woke up the other morning and we saw that Biden, on every news channel, everywhere, Biden was in Ukraine, shaking hands and, doing the political stuff and expressing his support for the Ukraine. Oddly enough, he did not visit Ohio. But who did? Well, Donald Trump did. He visited Ohio. So one got their photo op in Ukraine. The other one went to Ohio to do it. I want you to make no mistake about this. This isn't either one of them doing the right or good thing. This is nothing but political masturbation out of both of them. And they are both scum, equal amounts of scum. Both if I can't talk, both Trump and Biden are absolutely terrible. So keep that in mind. It means nothing, and it's just political show. It's theatrics. That's all it is. Russia, they announced as Biden was kissing babies and shaking hands in Ukraine, that they are going to suspend their participation in the START nuclear treaty. And as discussed, that treaty is put in place to limit the over-proliferation of nuclear weapons. Basically what it does is it allows Russia to inspect our stuff, and it allows us to inspect Russia's stuff. They said they're not going to do that. Putin suspended it. I think they need to go through their federal game that they play, just like what we here in the United States do with Congress and everything like that, to make it official whether or not they're going to permanently terminate it or not. In the words of Putin, and I don't have this, exact, but he said that it was a legacy treaty from when the United States and Russia did not view each other as adversaries. So this is just one more thing where we have an actual go ahead and admit that Russia and the United States don't like each other, and this proxy war with between the United States or NATO, which, I mean, let's get real, that is, NATO is the United States. So it just, makes that just that much more official. And on top of that, with, Kamala Harris the other day talking about how, they, meaning Russia, have committed, all these crimes against humanity in the Ukraine. Of course, we all know that. To play the devil's advocate, I'm not a Russia guy, that should be obvious. But what if you were Russia? What would you think? If billions and billions, and we're almost up to $500 billion in aid has been sent to Ukraine to fight Russia, and now we're going to be mad at China because they're talking about how they might supply lethal aid to Russia to fight the Ukraine. This is nothing more than a proxy war, and I think, as it's been stated many, many places, this is just an attempt for NATO to fight Russia over there rather than right here. Throat's dry. Let me get a drink right quick. Oh, excuse me. Now, what exactly does this mean with this suspension of this treaty for us? Are we one step closer to warheads on foreheads? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows. I don't think that Russia is likely to, just start playing whack-a-mole with all the red buttons. It's just something that I don't see happening. And really the only scenario that I see as a high plausibility, level of that happening is if maybe Putin he gets it in his brain that he personally, his life is in danger. Then I could see him going whack-a-mole with all the red buttons. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. They tested an ICBM while Biden was in Ukraine, and the damn thing failed. It didn't work. So there's that end of it. If he does the red button whack-a-mole, that they may just not function. But just like here in the United States, there is a significant chain of events and chain of authorizations that have to happen in order to make those missiles fly. And it would have to be every single person in that line from Putin's office all the way down to the dude, the very last dude, and there's a whole series of those people that would all have to be in agreement with that, for it to happen. So the likelihood of a thermonuclear war with Russia, possible? Yeah, it's possible. At least today. Tomorrow may be a different story. Today, I don't see it as a huge deal, and I don't think we're any more, in danger than we were 2 weeks ago, or this time last year. So don't get all spun up in a tizzy about that. I'm a little concerned about Russia deciding that they're also friends with China, and China deciding they're friends with Russia. You know, obviously they stated that we'll put in some pretty harsh sanctions against China if they go to provide lethal aid to Russia. Um, China's not exactly doing perfect at the moment. They've got a lot of financial and political issues going on, and a lot of people say that China wouldn't survive these sanctions as well as Russia would. Whether that's true or not, I'm not the guy to ask about that. So kind of look into that, do some research. We are China's #1 trade partner, so it's gonna cut a lot into them. You know, it's gonna be a pretty big hit for them, and they're gonna have to bite a pretty tough bullet to be able to do that. No pun intended. Read my notes here. All right, so the balloons, the baroons, whatever you want to call them, the UFOs or the objects or whatever. Well, they officially gave up looking for them, as you all know, and we finally went ahead and decided, you know, we being the United States, I guess it would be they, the media finally started to talk about the train derailment and the big fires and the scary looking photos and all of the stuff that went on with that in Ohio. Now, I'm not a chemist. I'm no expert on any of this, but I don't want to downplay. Yes, there is a danger. Yes, there were toxic chemicals released. Yes, people were in danger, and they may still be. I'm not the expert on this, but I think with the analysis that I've seen several people that I trust do and explanations of the chemicals that were released or burned or, you know, somehow or another, you know, distributed to the environment, it looks like a few good rains will settle out the most of that. I'm not saying all of it, and there probably will be some long-lasting damage from this, but I think the media is trying to divert our attention from some other things. Maybe it's the fact that they're shooting these balloons down and missing. So somewhere, you know, around Lake Huron, there is a, you know, missing unexploded Sidewinder missile because they had to shoot twice. I don't know, but my only assumption is they've switched to talking about the trains to get our attention off of something else, which as you know, is par for the course. So what is it that they're not talking about? I did just a quick little research, and last year in 2022, there were 1,044 train derailments. Most likely you heard about 0 unless one was near you. In 2021, there were 1,022 train derailments, and I didn't write the specific number down, but it's right around 1,000, you know, going back to 2019. So trains derail all the time. As a matter of fact, in the town nearby where I live, on a road that I drive pretty regular, there was a train derailment Monday, you know, just a couple days ago. It wasn't a dangerous, you know, like newsworthy derailment. What it was a grain elevator, and the trains come in and they park, you know, they back in and they park. And what happened was it just jumped over, you know, the place where it was supposed to stop and rolled out into the road. People, man, I was looking at this, you know, watching some videos, you know, like people were, you know, putting their Ring doorbell cameras and stuff. And there is a literal train backing up across the street where there is no railroad crossing. And people are literally swerving to go around this damn train and going on with their lives. It's a freaking train derailment, dude. There's a train in the middle of the road you're driving down. Now, granted, this is a busy road. It's a 4-lane arterial road with, turning lanes on each side, one in the middle. This is one of the busier roads, where I live. And they were just, like physically dodging the train and just kept doing this and kept doing this until it finally got far enough that it blocked, both the east and westbound traffic. I don't know what's wrong with people, man. Aside from that, if I have to get to work or, got someplace I need to be, there are very few places that I need to go that are so important, especially if it's like to work, that I can't stop and watch the train derail. I'm certainly not going to like try to beat it and risk my life over that, but let's set all that aside. I'm going to sit and watch the train derail. If nothing else, how often do you see that every day? I think what happened is, instead of going in reverse, they put the train back in forward and pulled it back up on the tracks. I'm not exactly sure of how that all happened, but all they did was pull it back forward, get it out of the road, called the power company because it knocked down some power lines, and things were, back to normal. So train derailments have been in the news a lot lately. They happen all the freaking time. All the freaking time. That's, about 1,000 a year, give or take, about 1,000 or more per year. That's 3 a day somewhere in the United States. Some of them are real minor things like the one that happened the other day here. And some of them are major, man. And I have personally seen a dozen. I used to have a commute that, where I drove 60 miles back and forth to work every single day. One way was 60 miles. And I probably saw maybe not a dozen, but close to a dozen. And every bit of a dozen where I saw the aftermath of it. But man, I've seen several, and it's something that happens a lot. So rather than divert, all of your attention to, you hear my dogs barking, don't they know I'm doing a live stream? Rather than put all of your attention into this, you need to stop and think, this happens a lot. And we never hear about it before, so why are we hearing about it now? What are they trying to get our attention off of? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Maybe you can tell me what you think. What's next on my list here? TikTok. I think we need to discuss TikTok, man. TikTok has a reputation of people not liking it. They say it spies on you, and it's just a bunch of, stupid videos about, people dancing, and you get on there and all you see is, some weird language tool hacks and titties and dancing and yeah, that stuff's there. And is there some data collection, extensive data collection that goes on with TikTok? Absolutely. What I have to say about that is this. You're watching this on YouTube. You use Google. You're probably watching it on a smartphone. If not, what does it matter? You're using some sort of internet connected device. You shop on Amazon, you have an Alexa, you use Google Maps or Apple Maps. All of these things we do, these Ring doorbell cameras or whatever thing that you use. You're being spied on constantly anyway. And it does say some pretty scary things to read right in the terms of service on TikTok if you go through and read that stuff. But then I look back to Facebook. It literally took a congressional hearing with Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook to tell us they were doing the same thing. And they're still doing it. Nothing changed. They're still doing it. Shut up, dogs. They're still doing all that. So you're being spied on, and that's just something we got to live with. I mean, we got freaking balloons transiting the entire continental United States. At least, what is there? 4 of them now. And those are the ones that they told us about. So, yeah, there's going to be some data collection going on. But one thing you need to realize about TikTok is TikTok actually has a really, really intelligent algorithm. The best suggestion algorithm that I had ever seen, and I think most of us had ever seen, is YouTube. YouTube has a really good algorithm of showing you what you want to watch. And you first log on to TikTok and you put in your stuff, you're a male and whatever, this is your interest and this is what you'd like to see. And because of all that, the first, few times you get on TikTok, it's women dancing around with tiggle bitties and stupid little tool hacks and, all the goofy dancing videos that TikTok's known for. But after a while, that algorithm kind of starts to catch up with you. And TikTok has become probably what I'm going to say the most uncensored, real-time source of news out there. Generally, you can hear about something on TikTok hours and sometimes days before it's reported anywhere else. And you get the real first-person account of it. Now, later on, a bunch of the edited stuff and, people that have an agenda start, posting it. But that's a big deal. And it's, for the most part, pretty well uncensored. They don't filter through. They don't, they tend to let all that stuff stay up there. And while there is a danger of, there is a absolute, and not just a danger, it's absolute that there's some data collection, going on there. As the tool that it is, TikTok can really give you some good, I hate to call it intelligence, but a good idea of what's going on around the world. There's a lot of good creators there, and the algorithm works well. If you're into financial stuff, I am, so there's a lot of financial creators that are on there. News there's some pretty legit stuff on there. And like I said, you think, oh, that can't be real. Then, 3 hours, 4 hours a day later, it comes out on, CNN or Fox or, MSNBC, all these places. So I don't think you should completely write off TikTok. Just keep in mind that it is a tool that has a purpose, and it does have a purpose. And I think that needs to be recognized. Another thing I'll point out about it is anytime the Republicans and the Democrats, the left, the right, the conservatives, the liberals, whatever, buzzword you want to call for these, right and left wings of the same crappy bird, when they come to agreement that they both hate something, it's because it's a danger to them for some reason. And the Republicans and the Democrats both hate TikTok. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, NPR, they all spend all their time bashing TikTok. What does that tell you? It tells you that TikTok is starting to threaten their legitimacy. It's starting to threaten their agenda. And that's something that you need to pay attention to. All of those different people don't suddenly agree that something's bad unless there's a pretty high threat reason for them to do so. So really look into that. And if you use TikTok, you know, hey, let me know. Have you had the same experience with it? I can absolutely say I have. All right, so on from that, let's see here, the prepper tip. So one of the big things that I try to do with this channel, this YouTube channel, is, yes, I'm a prepper channel. I'm a survival channel. But not in the sense of what the stereotypical prepper is. Buying stuff and putting it on the shelf does you no good. What I think we need to be doing, what I know we need to be doing, is building resilience in our lives. And that's something that I've always talked about. Let's build a life that we love living, and then find a way to perpetuate that. So beans, bullets, and Band-Aids and all that stuff, yes, they absolutely have their place. Yes, you need to be storing food. Yes, you need to, worry about your self-defense. But eating healthier food that you grew from your garden, or eggs that were laid by your chickens, or a meal that you cooked at home, and water that you're using to cook with and drink that came from a Berkey filter that you filtered, is always going to be much more healthy for you today. That's a wonderful thing for you to do today, is to start looking at the food we put in our bodies. And at the same time, getting in the habit of doing that stuff, making your own inputs and staying away from that processed food, and growing your own food, and taking the responsibility of clean, pure, non-chemical laden drinking water. All of that stuff will absolutely help you, if the doomsday comes. And the closer we can get to that point, everybody says, on doomsday, whenever the world ends, I'm gonna raise my own food, and I'm gonna do all this. Okay, whatever. Well, why are you waiting till then to start doing that? Why don't you start doing that today? Doing as much of that today as possible will absolutely, beyond the shadow of a doubt, absolutely benefit you today. And you can avoid that whole rush of, oh no, what do I do? How do I get this up and running? If the balloon goes up, which I guess we need to change that because they just shoot the things down now. But whenever the big one hits or whatever, transitioning from a normal life over to that life is going to take a little bit of a huge amount of time, actually, time, energy, etc. So let's avoid the rush and start crashing now. Like, what is your alternative heat? Do you plan on heating your house with wood? Well, then start working on doing that now. Do you plan on, reducing your power demand? Well, what is there today that you can do? You don't necessarily have to go all solar, but what steps can you take today to build resilience in your life, come good times or bad? What steps can you take today? that would also benefit you, you know, in your huge prepper plan of what you're going to do when the world ends. Why do you have to wait? Just start doing it now. So pick something. You know, my suggestion, as stated at the first of this video, was take control of the food that you're eating. Take control of what you're cooking. Learn how to cook fresh cauliflower. Learn how to cook fresh broccoli. Learn how to make a sauce. Plant a garden. You don't have much room? Plant onion, tomato, jalapeno, garlic, and maybe a couple other spices that you like. And then a couple times a year, take all that stuff, harvest it, throw it in a blender, cook it down, and make the best damn salsa you have ever eaten in your life. Easy as that. None of that, but if you go through the canning process of that, which chances are you'll have plenty to do that, you can actually today, or not today, it's the middle of February, but this year, you can grow all of the salsa that you need for the year and preserve it, can it, and have everything you need for the winter until you can get your next crop going again next year. Little steps like that. Take them. And I guarantee that your life will improve. Not only for doomsday, but your life will improve today. Build resilience into your life, and you won't have anything to worry about, or you'll have a whole lot less to worry about, you know, if the world ends. Okay, well, I guess that's about all I've got today. If you stuck around this long, if you got any value from it, doesn't look like I've got any viewers yet again, but hey, that's okay. You know, we'll get there eventually, right? Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe, man. Leave me a comment. I'm going to post this, you know, as a standard video after I'm done with this. And I've been thinking about starting a podcast. I have absolutely no idea what to call it. So if you have any suggestions on that, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. And until next time, you guys be safe.